This is the look of Thursday night time, beginning a little after 12:30 with Gunslingers. Tonight, Gary Cooper stars in The Westerner. There's also video review, America's Top 10 and global sport. It's all to come on night time.
I'm uploading!
This is Granada, now News at 10 with Sandy Gall and Julia Sommerville.
Says there was collusion. Mr. Major says no cut in interest rates, they could go higher. After the IRA bomb, the warning is, look if you want to live. Mr. Gorbachev tells ITN he's against political adventurism, and rebuilding Strangeways will cost the taxpayer $60 million. Good evening. The Stevens inquiry in Northern Ireland has found that members of the security forces used confidential police documents to help loyalist terrorists. The report by Mr. John Stevens, Deputy Chief Constable of Cambridgeshire, concludes that a small number of people gravely abused their positions of trust, but that such collusion was not widespread.
It was RUC Chief Constable Hugh Ansley who called in Mr. Stevens 8 months ago for the largest outside police investigation ever mounted in Northern Ireland. Today he sat alongside as Mr. Stevens drew this conclusion.
I have been able to draw firm conclusions that members of the security forces have passed information to paramilitaries. However, I must make it clear it is restricted to a small number of individuals who have gravely abused their position of trust. This abuse is not widespread or institutionalized.
Mr. Stevens said the security documents contained low-grade intelligence. His inquiry began after loyalist terrorists claimed they murdered Catholic Lachlan McGinn because of leaked information identifying him as an IRA man. A flood of intelligence photographs were leaked to the press. Documents went missing from a police station and an army barracks. Mr. Stevens and his team of English detectives ended up with a much bigger brief. They recovered a total of 2,600 documents. They arrested 94 people. The majority were members of the loyalist paramilitary Ulster Defence Association. But out of those charged, 8 were soldiers from the locally recruited UDR, and 2 RUC reserve officers were reported to the Director of Public Prosecutions. The report's main recommendations call for tighter control over the distribution, handling and recording of security documents, the setting up of 2 special units, one to counter terrorism, the other crime, and stricter recruitment control for the UDR. Mr. Stevens revealed that some members of this regiment, almost exclusively made up of Protestants, had been recruited despite being adversely vetted by the RUC. But the Northern Ireland Secretary today reiterated his support for the regiment.
I see nothing in the findings of the Stevens inquiry to lessen my conviction that the UDR plays a vital and valued part in the Army's support for the police-led anti-terrorist effort.
Labour, though, had reservations about the Stevens report.
His admission that, and I quote, in the present climate, leakages of information from the security forces may never be completely eliminated, will dismay the supporters of the rule of law in Northern Ireland.
We must remember it isn't the computer or the photocopier which hands over this information, it's the person, and those persons haven't been identified.
The £500,000 inquiry may be complete, but at this stage the political unease about security intelligence has yet to be resolved. Andrew Simmons, News at 10, Belfast.
The head of Scotland Yard's anti-terrorist squad has warned anyone connected with the armed services, as well as members of the public, to redouble their vigilance in the face of the latest IRA bombing campaign. Commander George Churchill Coleman said that the sergeant killed yesterday and his colleague had checked their van before the bomb went off, but they missed it.
Police have now removed the van and another vehicle damaged in yesterday's explosion for forensic examination. The 2 soldiers caught in the blast had checked their vehicle before starting it, but the bomb was hidden so far underneath, below the gearbox, that they would have had to lie on their backs to have seen it. Today, police warn that there could be further attacks, whether by parcel or car bombs, or even letter devices.
I can only say this to everyone. If you value your life, you need to look and live. Not only today, but tomorrow and next week, and for the immediate and foreseeable future. You must look and live.
He warned that the terrorist attacks are becoming increasingly sophisticated.
These individuals learn each time they carry out any form of attack or campaign, when they try to murder people or damage people, cause damage to property. They learn. So their science goes forward, as does ours. So yes, it's becoming sophisticated.
In the Commons, both sides of the House condemned the bombings.
The whole House is united in its condemnation of the terrorist bombings this week, and that the whole House will want to offer condolences to the family of Sergeant Chapman, who was murdered yesterday, and to all who have been injured. May I also say, Mr. Speaker, once again, that no government formed from either side of this House will ever concede to violence.
I agree very much with the Right Honourable Gentleman that the vicious and sick minds that plan and execute these attacks bring shame and discredit on themselves and their cause.
It's now thought that the same team of bombers were also responsible for Monday's attack in Eltham. Detectives believe that the team of terrorists present in this country probably comprises of 3 or 4 people, men and women, keeping on the move all the time to avoid detection. And today, as some laid flowers at Wembley, it was clear that military centres all over the country must consider themselves at risk.
The wreckage inside the Wembley recruitment office is evidence of the difficulties the Army now faces guarding premises where tight security is impractical and inappropriate. Impractical because of cost, inappropriate because the Army is determined, despite fears of an IRA campaign against these so-called soft targets, not to be driven off the high street.
The Army's got to be accessible. We're members of the community, and the community we serve, and we've got to be among them. We can't hide away behind barrack walls.
In response to the IRA attacks, the Army stressed the need for individual vigilance, so the soldier's main protection is himself.
More observation of our cars, the premises, and in general more awareness of what is going on.
The soldier in the high street must now don civilian clothes when he leaves his office. He carries with him at all times an instrument to check his vehicle for bombs. The proximity of unknown parked vehicles has been criticised and may well now be reviewed. But today police were out checking plates in central London. The soldiers know this may well not be enough. After all, these procedures didn't prevent Wembley. They've now set up a hotline, Operation Tiger Watch, to report anything suspicious. They hope that will help them stay safe in the high street, for it's mainly the vigilance of themselves and the public that now protects them from its dangers.
There is renewed speculation at Westminster tonight about the political future of the Scottish Secretary, Mr. Malcolm Rifkin. Yesterday, Mr. Rifkin said he deplored the decision to cut 800 jobs at the Ravenscraig Steelworks and was asking British Steel to reconsider. But in the Commons today, Sir Geoffrey Howe said it was a matter for British Steel's commercial judgment.
Yesterday, Mr. Rifkin trod a fine line between the Thatcherite doctrine of letting lame ducks die and the political advantage of a Scottish secretary fighting to save a lot of Scottish jobs. So he announced,
"As we would with any other major employer in Scotland, we shall seek to persuade British Steel to reconsider their proposal in the interest both of the company and of its workforce."
But that view is not popular among many English Tory MPs, as they made clear in the House yesterday and today, and at tonight's meeting of the 1922 committee. And today Sir Geoffrey Howe chose to stress that it was primarily a matter of the commercial decision taken by British Steel.
A secret society.